I was fat and out of shape, and I just really let myself go over the years, right? A pound here, a pound there, and it just adds up. Um, and my son, I love this in him. We're a faith-backed family. We love Jesus and are on fire for him. And one of the things that we've taught our kids is lean into the hard, right? Lean into these challenges. And he brought the fire right back at me. And it was like, Dad, this isn't good enough. We want you around, right? You've got to take care of yourself. You say the body is a temple and we've got to take care of it. You're not doing it. I was like, whoa. Right. So he gave me some hard words. And I said, you know what? There's this loop around the neighborhood. Before you leave in 3 weeks, I'll be able to run the 2 miles around the state. It's not quite 2 miles, but run that loop around the neighborhood. And he was like, okay, we'll see. And sure enough, before he left, I was able to run that, completely gassed and died. But I was able to run it. And that started the journey towards fitness.
Running 100 miles seems impossible, and maybe even kind of crazy. And it is, but we believe in big crazy dreams. That's why we ran 100 miles. It was such a life-changing experience for us, we decided to devote this podcast to preparing and inspiring you to run your first ultra race.
Are you ready to feel the highest highs and the lowest lows? Are you ready to do what you once thought was impossible? Are you ready for your trail to 100? Thank you for joining me today here on Trail to 100, the podcast made to help you finish your first 100-mile race. My name is Jacob Bateman, and today I was joined by Mike McCalley. That's right, this is day 6 today, and one more day left of Steps to a 100-mile race. Now, when we talked with Mike, he had just completed his first 50-miler, and he did his first 50K the month prior, so he had reached 2 milestones on his way to 100 miles. He was training for the Leadville 100. Now, as some of you probably know, the Leadville 100 took place last month. So spoiler alert, Mike ran it and Mike finished it as his first 100-miler. Anyways, but that will have to be for another day. But today we wanted to talk about his preparation for the Leadville 100, and that's what we did in this podcast, what it took to achieve the 50K and 50-mile distance, what the differences were between those two distances for Mike, and what he was doing to now prepare for his Leadville 100 finish. So thank you, Mike, for joining us. Again, guys, this has been awesome to have you join along on the Steps to 100 miles. Make sure you tune in tomorrow for our last episode. We talked to a 100K finisher that we'll have dropping tomorrow. Anyways, so let's get to it. Mike McCalley. Well, Mike, thank you for joining me today here on the podcast. I'm so excited to chat with you real quickly, and hopefully chat with you more in the future as you're chasing your 100-mile finish at Leadville. But thanks for joining me today.
Hey, Jacob, thanks for having me, man. This is, I'm really excited to be here, and I'm a fan of what you guys are doing. I love it.
I talked to you on the phone earlier. You reached out, you've listened to the pod, and you are exactly the kind of person that we love to talk to and hear your kind of stories. So real quickly, though, before we get into your running story, Mike, tell us a little bit about yourself and your life outside of running.
Yeah, so at the end of this week, I'll be 54, married to the love of my life for 32 years in June.
Wow.
This coming June. Thanks.
Long time.
5 kids along the way. The 3 are out of the house and fully launched adults, 29, 27, and 24. 1 grandchild out of those, and then 1 in college, and our youngest is our daughter, and she is a senior in high school. So she's about to graduate in a couple of weeks.
How does that feel to almost have them all on their own?
Oh, it's amazing, right? I mean, it's crazy because you're at the opposite end of this, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. And I remember when they were little, and the thing that I don't know about you, but that we were taught along the way, and some of the best advice we were ever given is children are a welcome addition to your family, that you and your wife are the family, and children are a welcome addition that you train up to be adults that will leave you, right?
Yeah, true.
And so like our job, we're getting, and by the way, it like rips your heart out when they leave, but it's also it's this amazing sense of accomplishment. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
I don't
bet.
mean to go so deep so fast, but
No,
yeah.
no, I love it. I love it. Melody and I just watched a show the other day where a girl left off for college, and I look over and Melody's bawling her eyes out. I'm like, I didn't think anything of it, and she's like, that's gonna be Travis one day, and I'm like, okay. She was really feeling that, but anyways, we're still a long ways from that. But Mike, what got you into ultra running? You just finished your first 50 miler. You're working towards Leadville here in a few months, but
Yeah.
what brought you into this journey in the first place?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So you got to back up to the summer of 2023. So a little over 18 months ago, we had recently moved, and my youngest son, who was about 20 at the time, we'd finished unpacking a bunch of stuff, and we went out for a walk, and he was like, "Hey, let's go run over here, this part in the neighborhood that butts up against some woods and stuff. It's really gorgeous." And I was like, "About how far is that?" And he goes, "I don't know, maybe a quarter mile." And I'm like, "Okay, that's great." I couldn't run it, right? I wasn't just out of shape. I was overweight. I was 65, 70 pounds heavier than I am now. And that was not muscle. I was fat and out of shape. And I just really let myself go over the years, right? A pound here, a pound there, and it just adds up. Um, and my son, I love this in him. We're a faith-backed family. We love Jesus and are on fire for him. And one of the things that we've taught our kids is lean into the hard, right? Lean into these challenges. And he brought the fire right back at me and was like, "Dad, this isn't good enough. We want you around, right? You've got to take care of yourself. You say the body is a temple and we've got to take care of it. You're not doing it." I was like, "Whoa." Right. So he gave me some hard words, and I said, "You know what? There's this loop around the neighborhood. Before you leave in 3 weeks, I'll be able to run the 2 miles around the state. It's not quite 2 miles, but run that loop around the neighborhood." And he was like, "Okay, we'll see." And sure enough, before he left, I was able to run that, gassed, completely gassed, and died. But I was able to run it, and that started the journey
Yeah.
towards fitness. 6 months later, a good friend of mine who was a marathoner said, "Hey, my son's doing this trail run. I'm going to go do it with him. I'm going to do 16 miles. He said, "You want to go do it with me?" And I was like, man, I did the classic line. I can't do that. Right.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Well, could you, there's an 8 mile version." I was like, "No way." And he said, "Go look online, look at it." And I said, "Well, you know what? There's a 4 mile version. I can do 4 miles because I'm running 3 miles now anyway. I can do four. That's great." So I signed up for the 4 mile version of it, and absolutely fell in love with trail running. Just fell in love with that. And that was um, May a year ago when I did that first trail run. So that got me into that part, into trail running, not ultra running. Then fast forward to that August, my middle son had signed up for the mountain bike race at Leadville
Ooh.
and had asked my wife and me to be part of that crew. He was like, "You guys are fit enough now. You can crew with us." Because as you
Yeah.
know, crewing requires you don't just sit around in lawn chairs all day, right?
Yeah.
And you got to have some endurance as
Yeah.
well.
You do. You do. You got to be
And
able to go without sleep
yes, yes.
and
Well, the
moving
cool
from spot to spot, unloading, loading. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And the mountain bike one is a little bit more compressed, right? It's a 12-hour ordeal. It's not 24. But to your point, we're still leapfrogging. We're having to carry stuff around and equipment and whatnot.
Yeah.
Well, we went out and we saw Leadville. We are like, "Oh, wow." We saw this event. It was amazing. I saw these men in their 70s doing this event. It was kind of like, well, what's your excuse? Right.
Yeah.
Um, and so we got back from that, and my wife and I were talking about it, and my daughter, our daughter was talking to us a little bit about it, and they were like, "Yeah, Dad, that I think you could do that. Not the bike race, but the run." And I was like, "I think I could too." So we talked to the other kids and was like, "Yeah, if I've got a year to train, a year is going to be really hard. They've got a 50% failure rate on that event
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
Um, okay, what do I have to do? How can I get in?" And then what can I do to reduce the risks to make sure that I've got the best chance for success?
Love
Um,
it.
and we started putting a plan together and went all in.
Yeah.
So that's a quick story.
I love that it's kind of a family ordeal. Like ultra running and this experience in your family is intertwined, and I really admire that because I've had similar experiences happen in my family as well, and how ultra running or just choosing something hard and the whole family rallying around each other and taking turns. You'll do it this year, I'll do it the next year and such, and it becomes a beautiful thing to bring the family together. So you then went out this year, and in 1 year, you're going to run your first 50K, 50 miler, and fingers crossed, 100 miler.
Yes,
Um, that is a quick progression. Um, so let's just focus on the 50K and 50 miler right now.
perfect.
Um, you ran them a month apart. What was the thinking behind that?
Yeah, so there was a couple of things. One, I did end up getting a coach, right? I
Okay.
think that was because I was doing this for the first time. It was insane.
Yes.
One, my best friend growing up in Virginia, he's big into ultras. He loves doing the 50K and 50 milers. That's what he's done his his whole life. Um, and he was saying, Mike, don't do the 100. Give yourself a couple years. Give yourself. And I was like, no, it's the difference, right? I'm like, I'm gonna go. There's two types of the people that do these things. There's the people
Yes.
that go all
Slow
in or
build.
slow
Yeah.
build, and then the others that just go straight to the deep end. I'm a straight to the
Yes.
deep end guy.
Yes. Jump in the 10-foot pool.
Yep. And
Yeah.
so anyway, I worked with the coach and we included these races as part of a progression to get me prepared, as adequately prepared for it. So, I I mapped out which races I wanted to go to, and she vetted them and said, "Okay, yeah, this one's good. That one's not. This makes sense." And the point that you called out, the difference between the 1 month between the 50K and the 50 miler, she was like, "That's really tight." She said, "I'd prefer for you to have like another month, but because of these other things that were going on," she said, "If we give you adequate rest time, recovery time, and build training blocks in, I think you can do it."
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I've been walking this fine line of injury avoidance and then injury treatment constantly as I've
Yeah.
been going through this, right? Because
Yeah.
at first, it's my IT band acted up, and I was like, well, how'd I do that? And then you find out, it's your glutes or something, right? You got to fix your glutes, and then, I've got had an issue with my ankle, and then it was this, and it was just different things along the way.
Yeah.
It's right playing whack a mole. So I don't know if
Well,
I answered your question, but
no, no, and I think one of the best points you made there is you picked up a coach. I do think that, like people don't necessarily have to have coaches to do this. You can put in the research yourself. There's lots of great things out there on the internet or, YouTube, whatever. You can find good books. But when you're pushing it, like the timeline you want to push it, I think if you're going to choose to jump in the deep end, a coach is like what you said is so needed because you are walking a very fine line with your body trying to adapt to such extreme change and being like, what the heck, man? I was sitting on the couch 2 years ago, not doing anything.
yeah, it was funny because my middle son who did the mountain bike version of this, he was like, "You don't need a coach. You can get everything you need off of YouTube and stuff." I'm like, well, "You've got two things I don't have, son.
Yeah.
Number one, you're in your early 20s, and number two, you've also got more time to where you can just I mean, your body can absorb a lot more
Yeah.
mistakes. Mine,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Amen. Amen. Well, I think that was very smart, and for people who want to do that, I would highly recommend it. So, what was the biggest difference between the 50K to the 50 miler? Like, what was that jump like? Those miles between mile 32 to 50.
yeah, it's funny. I finished when I finished the 50K, I felt like I had given a lot, but I felt like there was still more in the tank,
Yeah.
right? Like, I was like, "Okay, there's still more there." On the 50 miler, it was a looped course. It was the Rocky 50, which is kind of the Rocky Raccoon 100 is the
Okay.
week before. It's the same
Yeah.
course,
Okay.
essentially. Yeah, yeah, it was a 3 loop course, and that 3rd loop, so did 2 loops, which got me through 33-ish miles, and that 3rd loop, was a grind. It was just an absolute ever-loving grind. Uh, I guess the way I look at it, that's when things started just not feeling well, right? I started noticing things. Um, I don't like to give the way I tell people when they ask about it is like when I'm training, I listen to my body and I listen to the types of pain. It's like, okay, is this soreness pain or is this acute pain, right? Injury. And I'm trying to learn the difference between the two. But when I'm competing, I don't give pain a voice and just shut it off.
Yeah.
And you just kind of go through it. And so I literally got to mile 48 on that. And the way it worked, my middle son was able to he had signed up for one of the races, and so he was able to run that last loop with me, which was kind of cool. And so he on that he was behind me and was like, "Hey, I wanted to come in under 10 hours, and I came in just over 10 hours." And we were in the last um 6 miles of the race, and he was like, "You've got to pick up the pace if we're going to come in under 10, Dad. You gotta go." And I was like, "Man, my head's spinning a little bit." So he got in behind me and he said, "No, you do need to walk." He said, "I was just zigzagging back and forth," right? I was like, "Okay." I thought
Walking
I was
like a
going,
drunk man.
yes. He was like, "All right, yeah, you need to walk." And then it was, yeah, mile 48, everything just kind of was like, "We're done. We're cooked."
Yeah.
And I kind of hit that wall, which was great, because I knew I could still finish it without issues, right? But it was like, okay, I felt like I'd poured out everything I had.
Yeah.
Um, so for me, the biggest difference to break it back now was hydration mattered a lot. I started out way too hot. Like when I started out fast in the 50K, all right, I'm going to be out there for 6 hours or 7 hours. It was a cold day. Hydration was an issue, but it wasn't a massive issue. Ended up getting a little bit dehydrated at the end of the course. When I did the 50 miler, got my heart rate up too fast too soon. And so just recovering from those things on a 50 miler makes a difference.
Yeah.
Um,
That sounds like a great experience for training for 100 to have something like that happen. Um, I guess what lessons you were talking about, like going out too fast or too hot, hydration, like what lessons have you taken from that 50-mile experience that you're now implementing or hoping to implement on race day? Like being like, okay, I need to be more conscious of these things.
yeah. So um, stick to the plan. Right? It's people say it, and I like to go out fast. Um, and it's so bad. I've finally gotten it through my head, right? It's like,
Yeah.
no, I'm gonna run 100K at the end of May. And
Okay.
so I'm gonna get to test that and see if I've
Yes.
learned that lesson. Um, but that's my biggest concern is like, okay, am I willing to feel like I'm letting people run away, right? And I'm realizing it's not me versus others, it's me versus the course.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's one thing. And then the other, I was able to get like I did one of those sweat tests that they
Okay.
have
Yeah.
available. And that helped immensely. The one that I ended up using came back with like recommendations about what the hydration levels need to be per hour when I'm competing. And so that allows me and how much sodium I need and things like that. So that has helped level out a whole lot.
So I'm
thing.
just curious, how much sodium did your sweat test say you needed?
I'm like the 90 something percentile.
Oh boy.
I have to have 1.5 liters of water every hour, and I have to have 12 or 1400 milligrams of sodium.
Wow. Wow. That's a lot of water and a lot of sodium. My
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah. I'm thinking about getting it redone because I did it. So living in Texas, I did it in September, which it was, 100-degree
Very
day.
hot. Yeah.
And I actually ran during the heat of the day. And so I'm wondering, like, if I went and I ran during like 80 degrees or something like that, if I would get a different result.
Yeah. Yeah. Could be. I've
Yeah.
always been curious about those. Um, so what makes you nervous about Leadville? If there's something that's gonna maybe kick you out of the race, what do you think it would be?
Um, the altitude's the wild card for me. That's I just have no idea what that's going to be like. Um, and I've talked to a lot of people that's what's gotten that, and the cutoffs, right? It's the time pressures of that with the cutoffs. I went and listened to the podcast you recommended that you guys had recorded earlier, and then
Yeah.
the OK Runners have like a whole series that they had done and talked about
Yeah.
on Leadville. And yeah, that captures it in a nutshell. Is for me, it's and I guess the other thing, and this is like maybe inconsequential, but will drive me bonkers, is I don't like conga lines,
Oh yeah.
and the start of Leadville is a conga line,
Yeah.
especially if I start slow, right?
Yes. Yeah, that's a tricky balance there where you gotta figure out, how fast do I go out so that I don't get caught in the very back, because I have heard of people getting caught in the back and it kind of being the death of them. But then you also don't want to burn up at 50 mile 50 when you gotta
Yeah.
go back up over Hope Pass again. So
Yes. Yeah, I do have a question for you, and
yeah.
maybe if you've got a couple of episodes that you could point me to would be awesome. As we're putting together the crew and pacers for this, I realize just how much of a team sport this is.
Yes.
Like, what do you look for? It's like, if you haven't run Leadville yet, have you?
No, no, it's on the list, but I have not.
Okay. Like, if you were putting together a crew for Leadville, what would you want in your crew? What would be the characteristics?
Well, I actually did an episode with a guy named Ben Light, and he's a coach, professional ultra runner, and people will pay him to come crew and pace them, because he just does it so well. He crews a lot of the elites, but honestly, it's what would I look for? I want someone who is honestly going to you sometimes family's not the best. I'll be straight up. Sometimes they are. But sometimes family just sees you suffering and they want you, it hurts their heart so much to see you so low
Yeah.
and so beat up that they kind of can be like, you know what, you can call it. It's okay. You can call it. You've proved enough. So you want someone that understands the sport or an endurance sport and understands like your why or your reason for being out there and is going to hold you to it and isn't just going to let you, turn it in. Someone who's going to, understands the nutrition, the hydration, and ultimately is going to be honest with you and can take maybe you being a little short or because you will be. I know I do. When you're that beat up, you're that stressed, you're trying to make cutoffs, your body is just feeling terrible. So honestly, it's just someone who understands you and knows that, how to push your buttons and to keep you moving. And I think it's a balance of understanding you as well as understanding the sport. and realizing, okay, we got to get him more electrolytes. We got to get those feet taken care of. We got to change his socks and shoes. We can't let him stay here. So I don't know. It's a balance because, yeah, the right crew makes a world of difference. So
I like that. Yeah, my wife actually has a saying that we implemented with our kids, with our boys specifically when they started playing football and a couple of other sports. But she used it with me once I picked this up, and it's come home with your shield or on it, is her line, right? Which goes back to like the old Spartan warrior days, right?
yeah,
It's like you give everything you have or you die out on the battlefield,
yeah,
right? And it was I love that in her. And so she doesn't have a hard time. I mean she will, but she's like, no, I want you to finish. So
yeah.
I'm good with that. I've heard
Good,
some,
good, yeah. And
yeah.
then sounds like you got a good woman, the crew, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, she'll tell me like it is. She's like, "No, you're gonna finish.
Yeah.
We put too much into this for you to just wimp out." No.
Exactly. That's what you need. You need that mindset of someone who has that mindset, who's going to war with you, because being a crew member, it is you are a part of the race. It isn't just you getting to that finish. That crew is also getting to that finish with you. So,
Yeah.
anyways, so they got to want it just as bad as you want it.
Yep. So I guess real quick, what I would say the biggest difference for me between the 50K and the 50 mile was the hydration and nutrition part of it started to play a lot more into it than anything else.
Yes.
Um, the A little bit of the endurance piece, but that was more, I would say more about modulation and energy management. And so, yeah, energy management would be the
I
piece.
like it. I like it. Well, Mike, we got to wrap this up, but I am so excited to hear about Leadville. So, best of luck to you. Go out there, get it done.
Absolutely. Jacob, thank you for all you're doing, man. I really appreciate it.
So, a big thank you goes out to Mike McCalley for joining us and sharing that experience. And congratulations, Mike, on that Leadville 100 finish for a first time 100 miler. Wow, that is amazing. Leadville still scares me. The cutoffs, the elevation, it's just an impressive feat that Mike accomplished there. So that wraps up day 6 of 7. So just one more day left here on the Steps to a 100-mile race. If you are looking for help with your running, be sure to reach out to us. You can find us at trail100.com/coaching, where you can fill out a coaching application and we can sit down for a free consultation to talk about if we're a good match, talk about your needs, and even hopefully give you some help just in that consultation itself. And if that's all that happens is we have a productive 30-minute conversation and you get the help you need from that to finish your 100-miler, then we're happy with it. Hopefully you're happy with it and both parties benefit. So, but if you want more, if you feel like you need a little bit more, we'll talk about month-to-month coaching, where Melody will give you a running plan as well as a strength plan, as well as we'll talk nutrition, we'll talk race strategy, all the above to help you finish your first 100-mile race. So be sure to reach out to us, trail100.com/coaching. Thank you everyone for joining us today. And remember, if you want to run 100 miles, make it happen.